Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So, with the crazy things in Boruto that we've seen lately, I feel like this one hopefully will lead to the most meaning behind it because this this arc alone has taken up like more time than the movie actually took up, which is like crazy to me, you know. Um, so to think that this is taking up this much and that supposedly we should learn something relatively new, you know, about the story or something along those lines, but who knows at this point because the whole point of the old man really breaking down everything to Boruto this week was to try to make him understand and so he doesn't have to fight him because I honestly think he could probably see his grandson in Boruto, and I think that's another reason why it kind of hurts him to think of letting everything stay as it is because there's still some people out there that even give him some hope that there's, you know, some good and some people willing to still want to be shinobis and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy to me to think that this whole episode was practically this man's story as to why he's gotten to this point. Um, but being 86 episodes in, it's not like too surprising at this point. Um, I mean, come on. We've gotten we gotten 86 episodes, and somehow none of the stuff that we're following supposedly has been in the anime or in the manga. You know, so either these are things that are gonna amount to little to nothing, maybe, or it's something that we're learning anime only exclusive. You know, maybe there's something important out of all this that we haven't really necessarily picked up on, or that's about to come up. Because the real thing that started to sound interesting was just the fact that they're talking about these synthetic humans or fabricated humans that they created, and because they're just these creations, they shouldn't, like Boruto shouldn't even imagine that they have wills, and that's the first thing I said when I noticed that, you know, they had a particular way of showing, you know, that they like certain things, that they dislike certain things, that they aren't always friendly to each other, you know. All of these different things were pretty easy indications for me to understand where and why these characters are doing what they're doing. But clearly, for the old man who was lost in his own mind and excuse me, sorry, and saw everything in his own perspective and the ways that he wanted to see it, he couldn't necessarily then give them wills because if he did, or in, you know, he can't give them wills in his own mind because that would be like accepting the fact that he's pretty much just sending out people to die, like people who could have became better than what they were going to be, and you just kept them in a one-track mindset of, oh, you're only good as fighting, you're only good as this, and that's pretty much what the shinobi world was at a earlier state when we had Naruto and Sasuke being offered up to do these missions that, you know, some people wouldn't even be able to do, still to this time. So it's things like that that go to show you that even with everything set aside, like nothing really changes, you know, like people stay evil, some things get worse, some things get better, but for the most part, uh, it still seems like there's a lot of things that they need to figure out with all the new shinobis and trying to get people to actually work hard when you're in a state of like peace. It only makes sense that you don't, you know, you're not necessarily as worried as you would be. Or like, for instance, too, like fighting was like the cool thing to do. Now the only person who really thinks like fighting is cool and wants to actually fight is Boruto. Like Boruto's the only one who's like, man, I want to learn some new moves so I can beat my dad up and this and that. So it's like the only reason why anybody kind of has any types of goals towards becoming a ninja in this world is because of the people that they are raised by. Not everybody was raised or not even just raised, but also who their mother, father are. Like for Sarada, she clearly just was doing it for her dad was a really raw shinobi, so maybe if she becomes a better shinobi, he would pay attention to her. Like you can see all these little indications of why they would be doing it, even if they don't really care for it as much as others do. So it was just one of those things that I feel like they could easily conveyed, but at the same time, when you're seeing it, at this pace, watching all these characters growing and stuff like that, I can understand that it'd be boring to some people because not a lot of people even have the patience to learn about like the Marvel Cinematic World, for instance. Like they don't care about Tony Stark and how Tony Stark got to where he is, let alone they want to then go and see Infinity Wars, So there's just people out there that don't really care about the things that make the story feel more complacent and feel more like earned. Like all the things they're doing actually feel earned instead of just like, oh, he shows up and he's always had this power, It's like, no, there was a whole story of him, why he was weak, how he attained the power, all these different things, and people just don't care, or they think it's dumb to even learn about that stuff. It's just fodder. But yeah, overall though, man, I can't really tell you how excited I am to actually know when this series is gonna just take the plunge and jump into all the stuff that everybody's been wanting to see, which is Kawaki and the future timeline that they've already teased. It just now comes down to the point of when are you going to show it to us? And if you do show it to us, is it going to be a time skip? Is it going to be, are we going to be seeing certain characters not be irrelevant anymore? What are we getting? And also, if you guys are still watching Boruto, I actually talked to some people that straight up said thank you for watching it for them, so it's totally cool. I understand that the show is just, it's kind of hard to watch at times because the whole time I'm expecting at least something to pop off, and the most that happened was someone showing up and saying, oh, okay, I will handle this, instead of, the old man. So it's like, oh, wow, now I gotta wait to see how this pans out. It's like, yep, have fun. But yeah, I mean, the show is not awful by any means. It's just when you've gotten to this like point of time in the show and seemingly we're still hanging out with this man who doesn't really know if he wants to believe that these fake humans that he created have wills or not, and if he does start believing it, then it would kind of mess up the whole point of him using them to fight wars for them. And yeah, it's just getting really complicated for the old man, and for the right reasons, because I mean, he's pretty much dealing with others' lives, and not only other people's lives, he's literally putting the hidden stone on eggshells now, because they're all like under control, or they can't leave and stuff like that. So it's just all wild, man. I love I love when shows like this kind of just go full throttle, like they have nothing really to hold back in Boruto, I feel like. So they're just going in, and you can definitely tell that they're going in right now, because seemingly they don't see like there's going to be a stop. And if there is, I think we're probably going to be seeing the end of like these clones and stuff like that, and hopefully we get some answers for Mitsuki, or we get some growth for him, because this whole thing turned into him, and now somehow it's all about Boruto again. So I'm not really sure where Mitsuki actually plays a role in this anymore because of that. So it's like, yeah, I guess Mitsuki's important. He's there. He's the reason why they're there. Other than that, I mean, we know he has a curse on his heart. Other than that, it's like, okay, what is Mitsuki getting out of all of this, or what is this even about anymore? But other than that, we really didn't see anything else besides Boruto learning that backstory, and then giving his 2 cents, and then we saw Shikadai was not still safe running around the stone, and that was about it. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to actually digest in this episode. It just kind of makes me wonder what they're hiding behind this arc. Like, what are you actually going to show us at the end of this all? Because it almost feels like they're just stalling or something, and I'm not sure if they really need to do that. Like, the manga is pretty decently far if they need more material like that, and if they're doing their own material, which I feel like they're doing, then that just kind of scares me, in the sense of, do they feel confident on ending this and then going to the next one? Or are they really rolling out some extra talking, and Boruto actually caring about something? Like, he usually doesn't care about anything, but now that he's talking to this old man, he cares all of a sudden. So it's just it's an interesting turn of events, and I'm just not sure where it all's going to, end at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think about all this. I also want to see what you guys thought about just how all of this is like happening, how they're still remotely not done, or like getting to the final fight, or we could be close to the final fight, we just can't tell from this cliffhanger. But yeah, I honestly don't mind watching Boruto for you guys, because I love to make a community of people that I can just talk to about any anime that shows up, or any animes that I'm interested in, or you guys are interested in, without just hearing like a whole bunch of cancers, like comments and stuff like that. It's really nice, and I appreciate you guys. So I can't wait to drop another video just to see what you guys have to either say, or just to see if you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. So with that, everybody, I will talk to you in the next one, and I'm about to body this ninja real quick. Oh my god. But yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next one, my anime people, and peace.